Meet Joao I, King of Congo. Ruled from 1470 to 1509. Meet Alfonso I. Ruled from 1509 to about 1543. These were kings of the Kingdom of Congo. First, a little bit about this kingdom. The Kingdom of Congo, which was situated in present-day Angola and Democratic Republic of the Congo, began at around 1375, and around the year 1390 the first king of this kingdom was crowned. The Congo Empire was one of the biggest empire in its region, and eventually, most of the population practiced Christianity. The Congo Empire even had their own currency that consisted of shells. There was a presence of a strong military in the empire. Culturally, the empire dedicated a lot of time and energy to the encouragement of art, the most important art form being sculpting. The kingdom continued to prosper until the death of Alfonso I, where there occurred a huge dispute between multiple factions for the next ruler. And thus the decline began. Back to the two rulers of the Congo kingdom that you must know about. Nzinga Nkuu was the fifth king of the Kingdom of Congo. For some reason he became so impressed by the Portuguese that he converted to Catholicism. He was baptized on May 1491 and took the Christian name of Joao. A short while later, the king abandoned his new faith for a number of reasons, one of them being the fact that the Catholic Church did not recognize polygamy. King Nzinga, aka Joao I, wasn't ready to embrace monogamy, and so back to his traditional religion he went. Let's look at this a little bit more in detail. According to Georges Balendia, author of Daily Life in the Congo, King Joao's wives refused to stop serving him because as far as they were concerned, he was still their husband. Also, by insisting that he was monogamous, King Joao I of Congo ended up hurting the several alliances he had made by marrying the different women. Traditionalist elements, who were not welcoming of the foreign religion, criticized the abandonment of local customs. They predicted disorder and calamity, as well as the vengeance of the ancestors who had been betrayed. Eventually, King Joao I died at around 1506. After the death of Nzinga Nkuu, aka King Joao I, deep disagreements began. On one side we had Nzinga Bemba, also known as Afonso I, and on the other side we had Mpanza. Afonso was a strong supporter and ally of the missionaries, while Mpanza was a staunch traditionalist. Both had an army at their disposal. Afonso surrounded the capital with his army. He was victorious and he attributed his success to Saint James. Supposedly, Mpanza and his men saw a cross in the sky which caused so much confusion and fear that they had no option but to flee. King Afonso officially held the throne after that. Also, Mpanza was executed because of his continued hostility to the Christian religion. Speaking of the Christian religion, one Portuguese priest claimed that Afonso was so into the foreign religion that he spent lots of time reading the Bible, and that he often urged his subjects to convert to Christianity. In 1526 the king ordered the construction of Our Lady of the Victories Church. Afonso was even buried there. A document dating from 1595 claimed that there were 6 churches for every 10,000 homes. Catholicism grew steadily with Afonso as king. By 1509, Nzinga Bemba, aka Afonso I, had built schools, which noble families' children attended. In fact, in 1506, Afonso sent his son to Portugal for further studies. In 1512, King Manuel of Portugal asked the head of an embassy sent to Congo to have the vessels loaded for the return with brass, ivory, and slaves. When it comes to slavery, you need to know that King Afonso and later kings would keep slaves, particularly enslaved criminals. These slaves were freeborn Congolese and therefore could not be sold to other parties. But the Portuguese became very greedy. They began to kidnap persons of noble rank and members of the royal family. While various Congolese nobles were sometimes implicated in the trade of freeborn Congolese, much of this unsanctioned slave trade is attributed to Portuguese merchants. King Nzemba aka King Afonso I wrote to the King of Portugal in the now famous letter, complaining about the ferocious trading of slaves that was threatening to depopulate his kingdom. The slave traders began to conspire and plot to replace King Afonso with a king who would be more friendly and less anxious about their activities. During the Easter holiday in 1539, an attempt on his life was made by the Portuguese. It was not successful. An inability to protect his subjects became an issue for King Nzinga Bemba, as it caused him to lose legitimacy in the eyes of his people. On the flip side, however, the king refused to adopt Portugal's legal code or sell land to them. Eventually, the king died between 1542 and 1543 and his son Pedro succeeded him.